Hey, what's up, guys? Today is February 11th. I just got back from Astronomicon 3 in Sterling Heights yesterday. And, I kind of took the day to kind of, rest up because it's like a wild couple days. I mean, I got there on Thursday for the pre party. So I've got a lot to talk to you guys about. I'm going to go pretty in depth on some of this stuff. This video is probably going to be kind of long. It could be as long, if not longer, than my psychopathic tour video, just because that was only one day and this is like 4 days. So I guess I'll just jump right into it. I'm from pretty much central Ohio, so it was about a 3-hour drive. I didn't stay at the Wyndham Gardens. I stayed at the Super 8, which is like literally right across the street. So if you ever want to save money, if you're going to Astro, I mean, it's like right across the street. It's kind of a busy road, but if you're trying to save as much money as possible, I recommend the Super 8 for sure. So anyway, I show up, I check into my hotel. The pre-party the doors weren't supposed to open until 7, so I kind of just got to hang out and kind of like unwind a little bit. And then I think I went over around, I want to say like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And it was pretty chill. There weren't that many people there. But as I'm walking in the front door, I actually hadn't even gone through the front door yet. Outside, there are people smoking. And I'm kind of like scanning because I'm kind of looking for people that I know or that I recognize anyway. And I look over, and there's Alex Vincent, that played Andy from Child's Play. And I'd seen him at a con several years ago. So I stopped and I was like, "You're Alex Vincent, right?" And so I chopped it up with him. Basically I asked him about the remake. He hasn't even seen it yet, that's kind of a trend I've noticed with a lot of actors. Is like if they remake their movie, they don't watch them. They don't watch the remake. And I can understand that. We talked a little bit about the TV show, which he hasn't heard from yet. Somebody else at the con told me that maybe he's not going to be in it, and he only recently found out, like after I'd talked to him. But yeah, so I just shot the shit with him for a little bit, and then I left him alone. I don't like to. Something else I'll get into a little bit later. I don't really like to hound dog people too much. Like I like to kind of get in with a conversation with somebody like that, and then just get out. I don't like to kind of linger, past where I should be. Anyway, so I'm walking in and I'm looking around. It's a pretty big lobby. The Wyndham Garden is a really nice hotel. Um, it's got a huge lobby. If you've watched some of the other like walkthroughs and stuff of Astronomicon 3, they do not do the con justice at all. It was not what I was expecting. There were way more people than I thought there were going to be. But anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself. So I'm walking through the lobby and I'm kind of looking around. I'm looking to see again, do I see anybody I know? And I look over and I see Justin Grossman. I'm like, yeah, I know that guy. Like I said, I'm pretty solo when I go to this stuff. I don't just call out the first person I see. I'm kind of, looking, scanning. And I'm walking and he goes, "Hey, Luke." And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll go over there. So I walk over there and I sit down and I'm talking to him. And then there's a couple other people that are sitting there too. And he starts saying that he just came up on a whim because they're doing the AXC music video shoot, and then the pre-party was going to be, everybody, Blaze, ROC, Twisted, AXC, Young Wicked, they were all going to be there for that show. And he's like talking about how he's going to have to buy a ticket. And I said, "Hey, I got you covered, dude," because when they first announced the concert, the pre-party, I instantly bought my ticket. I'd already had VIP, but I instantly bought my ticket. And then, a couple hours later, I go on Facebook and they announce, "Oh, you don't need a ticket for the pre-party if you're a VIP." I'm like, well, I wish you would have told that to me earlier. So I had a ticket and I tried giving that ticket away. I posted on Astronomic Conversations. I posted in, I think, the Congregation of Zool, and I posted in the Forever Face Alley, and I didn't hear from anybody. So I just had the extra ticket. And so he's like, "Oh, here, let me give you $10." I'm like, nah, dude, I was going to give it away anyway. You can have it. He's like, "Oh, thanks." So we get up, we go over to the line where they're checking people in, VIPs and stuff. And I give them my phone. They scan it in. They scan both in. They give me my VIP. And he got a little bit of an upgrade. I'm not going to get into it, but he got a little bit of an upgrade. And so, yeah, like I said, I was VIP all weekend long. I'll get into kind of like some of the ups and downs of the VIP too later in this review. It's hard for me to say whether the value is actually there. I'll get into that. I guess it will. It will be. I'll do it later. Anyway, yeah. So pre-party starts. There was really nothing of note that happened before the pre-party. So I went into the pre-party. It was, the openers were Noise 13, Aaron Romero, and Trilogy. And they were all really well received. Like everybody really liked all three openers. They were all pretty good. It's not like your standard show where like there's kind of like, at least the shows I've been to, especially recently, there's like 9 openers and there's like maybe one good one. All three of these guys are pretty good, at least in my eyes. And so then when the main acts came on, AXC came up first, I believe, and they performed like 3 or 4 songs. This is the Mishmash concert, by the way, the pre-party. And they performed like 3 or 4 songs. And I'm trying to remember exactly what songs they were that they performed, but because it just all mashes together because the weekend was so crazy that I can't remember everything they performed. I will say that I know either on this one or on the next time they came up, they played Zooligans, which I was really happy about because it was the first time they've ever played that song live. So after AXC came up, ROC came up and performed a couple songs. And this show, while it was dope, both these concerts had this problem of being kind of uneven a little bit because somebody like AXC comes up and they're high energy, like rocking the house, and then the ROC comes up and the ROC is kind of chill, kind of like, doing his thing. And then Blaze comes on and they do Zodiac Imprint. And so it was like a weird kind of vibe. It was all dope, but it's definitely kind of like a case of like high energy, low energy, not low energy, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Chill energy, I guess. Yeah. So like I said, ROC came out, then Blaze came out and they did a Zodiac Imprint, kind of like maybe 1 or 2 songs. And then Blaze stayed up there, did a little set. And then I think Young Wicked came up, and then AMB came out to perform. They performed like almost like a full set. Like they were up there for a while. AMB was, Ex Murder Boys. And then after they came off, AXC came back on stage, did like 3 or 4 more songs. And then Blaze came back out, did 3 or 4 more songs. And then he went into, I believe it was Juggalo Anthem, because then Twisted came on stage, performed it with him. Then they did a couple Triple Threat songs, and then Twisted performed. And they did, kind of their classic stuff, like I said, they performed also on Friday night, so it's like kind of weird for me to get it all straight in my head. But I think they did like Secondhand Smoke and a couple other songs. It's so hard because they performed like 2 nights in a row, so it's hard to figure out what they performed when. But so yeah, that pre-party show ended, and then it was time for the music video shoot with AXC. I'm not going to get into that in this video. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until the video comes out, and then I'll do kind of like a watch along, and I'll dive into all the behind the scenes stuff of it. Just because that's like it'll be a whole other video within itself. But after the shoot, they were on stage and they were, talking to people, and I've been keeping this kind of a secret, but about 3 weeks ago, I got like my actual first tattoo, which is the LLE with Cthulhu. I've had this for, like I said, 3 or 4 months, done by Brian Jewell from Wise Guys Tattoo Society. He's really good. He's also a hardcore Zooligan like I am. He's known the guys actually personally for a long time. He's actually tattooed Lee Carver. And so it was just like a perfect kind of like, this is the guy to do this tattoo. He's also done Mr. 8-Leg's neck tattoo that he has, the LLE tattoo, if you've seen it. So I was like, this is the perfect guy to do it. And so, yeah, I showed Lee Carver. Lee was taking pictures of it and shit. It was just a really cool. The whole Thursday night, the pre-party for me was the best night. of the whole con, which wasn't even really the con, but I mean, the music video shoot, the show was perfect. It was all good. So Friday is when the con officially kicked off. They had a pool party that was going on from like 2 to 5. I didn't go, just because they was going to be like $5 even if you were VIP, and I was just like, like, I mean, there weren't that many. I don't think there were that many people that were actually swimming anyway. I know everybody that was there said they weren't going to swim. There was some funny stuff that like the AXC did. Like, I know Joe Black slid down the slide, and I actually saw them as they were leaving, and he was talking about how his ass was chafed from going down the slide. So yeah, I wasn't there for any of that, but I heard it was cool. They had beach balls and stuff. Actually, right after that, I went to the vendor hall, and I got in line for the AXC kind of autograph and photo thing. And I, obviously when you go and you chop it up with them a little bit. And Billy Obey and Lee and them were talking about actually watching my videos, told me to keep it up. I'm like, yeah. They're saying, every Zooligan's got something else that they're doing, different talents, making masks, whatever it is they're doing to keep it up. So, I mean, I've been doing this channel for a while now, so I ain't going anywhere. Let's see. I went to a lot of panels too. On Friday they were gonna have a trauma panel, but they canceled that, and they did a From the Comics to the Screen panel with Dirk Manning, Twisted, their editor, her name escapes me. She was really cool though. And a guy named Ken Levine, something like that. And he was like a producer for the Preacher and the Boys. And it was all about, taking comics to the big screen. And this was a little bit of a foreshadowing for the announcement that they made on Saturday about Haunted Highons. But this panel was, about what you would expect. They talked about the difficulties of, editing a comic compared to editing a superhero movie, and what it's like adapting a comic book to a superhero movie. Pretty standard stuff. But for me at these cons, I always like going to the panels more than... I've passed the stage where I want to get, celebrity autographs and celebrity photos. I'm kind of past that stage now because I've been to so many conventions. Not to mention that guests have raised their prices to like ridiculous amounts. Like, to me, $40 for a picture or $50 for an autograph or whatever, that's way too much for me to ever, especially when I come from a time when you could get an autograph for $20 and a free picture. Like, I'm not about to pay $50 just to get a picture with you. Anyway, after that panel, there was the Terrifier panel, which was a pretty interesting one, actually. It was the guy who plays Art and the director, Damien Leone, I think is his name. It was pretty cool. They said that the sequel's almost wrapped, and that they have a trilogy planned for Art the Clown, which is pretty cool. I'm not the hugest Terrifier fan, but it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on Netflix, so fuck it, why not? Then the Three from Hell panel was on. I mean, nothing really stuck out. They didn't talk about Sid that much, which I kind of had questions around it. Obviously nothing insensitive, but I was apprehensive because they didn't say much about him, and I didn't want to push the issue. So I didn't ask. I was just going to ask, how different was the original script with Sid compared to the script with Richard Brake. But since they didn't talk about any of that kind of stuff, I didn't want to push it. I didn't want to be that guy. Yeah, so actually, like, right after that panel, I got out, and then there was the 80s party, back to the 80s party. It was the same openers, except something happened where, because I've even seen the set list where Trilogy came out after September Morning, which was like at the first show at the pre-party, they couldn't find him at first. They're like, Trilogy, and then eventually he showed up. So I don't know if he was like in the back or like screwing around and didn't make it up front. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that he played after he was supposed to. It could have been because they set up all the drum kits and everything, and to get September Morning off so he'd have the full stage, they, whatever. But what I'll say about this 80s party on Friday is that it was like a really weird crowd. Like I was saying about the pre-party, this was strange because it was like there were people there for September Morning. There were people there for Mickey Avalon, Dirt Nasty. And then there were people there for Twisted, obviously. Because there were people just standing around with September Morning shirts. There were a bunch of chicks standing around waiting for Dirt Nasty and Mickey Avalon to play. So it was really kind of a strange crowd. I imagine it was probably like what the Everyday's Halloween tour with Motionless in White was like, if you went to that one. I went, but I went without Motionless in White, so it was a pure Twisted crowd. But, yeah, so after September Morning was done playing, there were like, people that were just leaving. Because they're like, oh, we saw who we wanted to see. And I was like, okay, I get up closer to the front. It was really strange. And Young Wicked had a solo set. He went after Trilogy. And then Dirt Nasty and, Mickey Avalon. This was part of the drama that happened this night. There's more to come. Mickey Avalon's flight was canceled. And so there were a lot of kind of upset people that were there. Because he was only going to perform on Saturday night as well, but that was a VIP show. So they would have had to pay, $200 to get into that show, and a lot of people were not happy about that. So Dirt Nasty took the stage by himself, and like his performance was crazy. It was way more than I was expecting, because he was like drunk off his ass, getting shots from the crowd, but he was rocking the house. Like he was climbing the speaker stacks. It was actually way better than I would have expected. Yeah, it was and it was also weird seeing the guy from Scary Movie 3 like playing this, but it all worked out. And then Twisted hit the stage, and like I was saying in the last concert, I couldn't tell you what songs they played because I don't remember, but I think they came out to Secondhand Smoke, and then they went into Murder, 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 and then they played a couple other songs. I think that was that night. I was going to say that in the previous one, but I wasn't sure. Now, let me get into probably the biggest bit of drama that happened at that show is when Young Wicked was on stage. There was this kid who was in the front row who just jumped on stage. It's the only person that did this the whole night. And luckily, Dustin was up there dressed as Mr. T and just kind of took him off stage. Barely even touched him, really. And then, like, I don't know, 5 minutes later, maybe not even that, he stormed the stage. And luckily, there was this big dude, Jeremy Walters. I know his name because he's in Astronomicon Conversations. He was front row. The kid doesn't even get up on, goes to climb up on stage. Jeremy grabs him and just tosses him back. And then I pushed him back, and he, went towards the back again. The mistake this kid made is that when he stormed the stage that second time, he ran into a chick who had a couple of drinks in her hand, and it spilled all over her and all these guys that were with her. And that was his number one mistake. If you're ever at a show and there's a chick with a bunch of guys and you make her spill her drink or you upset her at all, you're going to be in trouble. So, we kind of thought, okay, he's going to get the idea. No. He comes back up. This time, he doesn't even get past me. I grab him around the stomach, and I'm just like, this guy, he's a small dude. I just grab him around the stomach and go, whoosh. And he goes back, and this time he's kind of standing. He doesn't go all the way back this time. He's kind of standing by, like, kind of where they are at, and there's, like, an opening, like, kind of like where you would see, like, a pit. And so what happens is these guys start yelling, this girl's yelling at him, and they just start, like, pushing him around, kind of fighting with him. So this guy comes up, takes him outside. And then I could be mistaken, but I think he came back in again. And the same thing happened where he kind of got into that same area, but they really started kind of like, they weren't punching and they weren't throwing punches, but they were just like kind of just throwing them around, And then that time he got escorted out. I think Dustin took him out this time, and he got escorted out and never came back again. So that was really the only bit of drama that happened really the whole night. Other than this is something else that happened with the hotel. I wasn't staying there, but the hotel didn't have any hot water because they were doing a remodel, and for some reason the building that had the hot water, I don't know, it was something goofy, but that was a big thing pretty much all weekend long that people were kind of talking about. Other people were opening up their rooms so that they could get hot water. People to Super 8 were saying, hey, come on over, use our shower. So it was a big thing. That was another big thing that happened. But that was more kind of like on the hotel. This is kind of more like, juggalos doing dumb shit on that, on that tip. Because there's always somebody in the crowd who's doing something stupid. And that was really the only thing that I noticed on my end that I'd seen that was kind of, out of control. It's that one thing. Afterwards, people are all walking around outside and stuff. And I actually ran into Scotty D from Fago Lovers. And I always like kind of talking to people that are on kind of like the website side of things, because like I'll actually link this in the description. Back in the day, I had an old school angelfire.com website where I would post like ICP updates and all that kind of stuff, twisted, everything. And it's still up to this day. I have no access to it, but it's really funny to see it because the last update's like the year 2000 or something like that. So I've been covering Juggalo news and shit I've been online since since pretty much almost the beginning of the internet. So I was talking to him about, old school stuff like Malenko 500, realjuggalos.com, like all the old stuff, horrorcore.com, all that old school, like Juggalo, stuff, and that was kind of a really cool conversation that I was able to have with somebody who's been around for as long as I have, especially on the internet side of things, because that's always a little bit different. So to be able to kind of catch up with something like that was really cool. And then we both got our picture with Dustin in his Mr. T outfit, which I'll put somewhere so you can see it. It's really funny. And so that was Friday night. Every night I was out late. That night I was probably out till about 3, maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. It was late night. So Saturday, like I said, I was already really tired because the music video shoot went really late. Friday went really late. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sleep in a little bit on Saturday. The first panel I want to go to is not until 1 o'clock. So, I don't really care. Parking wasn't that bad on Friday. And so I was like, I'll be fine. So I wake up and I actually start getting going around probably like 12:30 or so is actually when I started to kind of get going. And so I leave about 12:45. I get over there. About 1, I'm like, all right, I'm going to make it, I'll be fine. No, it took me a half hour, 30 minutes to find a parking spot on Saturday. So I missed almost all of the Clerks panel. I got a little bit of it. I got probably the last 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes of the panel. Because that panel actually went pretty much the distance, because obviously people had a lot of questions, because this was the first panel where the guy who played Randall made an appearance, his first con appearance. So, they had some kind of cool, interesting things to say, from what I heard. If you want to see a lot of these panels, actually, they're up on the Astronomicon YouTube channel. And that was another thing that I know kind of irritated some guys from like Replicon and other places, because they were trying to record. And Chuck Reeves, who was kind of the ringmaster of these panels, had to be like, sorry, man, you can't record. Because what happened was they saw all of the views that other channels were getting from basically their content. So they're like, no, this year we're putting it on our channel. We're going to get all the credit for it. So it kind of irritated some people. But, it was what it was. Like I said, it's their stuff. They should be able to do what they want with it. It's also gets to kind of why I probably don't have a lot of footage in this, or I have zero footage in this video. It's mainly because I don't like recording stuff while I'm trying to experience it. You know what I mean? Especially like with concerts. I did record a little bit of the Dirt Nasty show because I thought it was, because he was funny, and he wasn't somebody I was like, oh yeah, I really want to see them. And actually, as I was recording it, I noticed, like, I'm watching this concert through my phone. And that's just something I've never liked doing, and I'll probably never do again. Maybe if it's, like I said, somebody who I don't really, really like. but I'll never do it at like an AXC show or a Twisted show, ICP show, just because it's, you're kind of living through your phone. And if you can enjoy a concert that way, that's totally cool. Like, if you can enjoy it that way, I just can't. It's just a personal preference thing. So anyway, after that panel, they had the Haunted Highons panel, and then that's when they officially announced that they are going to TV, or they're going to do a TV show with Ken Levine being the producer. And kind of one of the reasons why I knew that we knew it was going to happen is because I was sitting in the second row on the end seat, and there were people sitting in the front row too. And Chuck Reeves came up and was like, "Hey, we need you guys to get up." And they're like, "Well, hey, I got VIP." And they're like, "No, you got to get up." And we're like, "Okay." This is where some of the execs are going to be sitting, and camera crews, and there was a whole bunch of people there. So we were like, okay, like they are going to announce that they're doing something, a movie or TV or something. Because I wasn't sure what the big bomb was going to be. I thought it would either be a movie or an ongoing series, was actually one of my guesses too. They're not doing that. They're doing a TV show, but they're not doing an ongoing. It's just kind of like a volume 2 that they're doing. So they are doing more comics. It's just like a volume 2. It's not ongoing. Yeah, and then that was the Haunted Ions. And after that, there wasn't any panel that I was interested in doing on Saturday. So I kind of walked around in the vendor hall again. And then I came back out because I was kind of waiting for the Juggalo trivia that Blaze was hosting. And Blaze was just kind of walking around in the lobby, like talking to people, taking pictures with people, stuff like that. So I walked up, was catching up with him. I talked to him for probably like 10, 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, because I'd seen him in Cleveland, and I'd seen him in Dayton, where I talked to him both times. And so we were kind of catching up again, just talking about the same old kind of stuff. Talked again about his knee, and he's talking about getting a new brace and how he's probably not going to get surgery done on it, that kind of stuff. And then, I got a picture with him, and yeah, some other people came up, so I was kind of like, I'll see ya. And then the Blaze Juggalo trivia happened. I didn't participate, mainly because I'm kind of an off. I've had periods where I'm kind of like, and I'm not like hardcore into it like some people are. And some of the trivia was like deep cuts, like stuff where I was like, man, like I wouldn't know, like, what was MNE's first MNE release, which I think was Blaze's Gang Rags Reborn. And then they had like, Blaze and Dead Body Man. What were the 3 songs that he said he was listening, or the 3 albums that he said he was listening to? It was Great Malenko, Most Tasteless, and my first album, which would have been his self-titled. Yeah, so there were some deep cuts, like what 2 horror movies did HOK use in their Death Before Me or whatever music video? I was like, psh. Like there were some crazy questions that like you'd have to be like deep into this stuff to know the answers to. But I was there to kind of maybe learn something and that kind of stuff. Then after that, there was the Fandom Menace or something like that game show. They were running really late, like an hour late. I guess last year they did Celebrities Against Celebrities. This year they did the Team of Celebrities, which was AXC and Twisted versus people from the crowd. And it was pretty good. It was I don't know how else to describe it. It was a good show. I guess I'll just say that. Monoxide didn't really seem like he wanted to be there. Every answer he had was Shaq. And then when it came down to the tiebreaker, they were all kind of going to do a tiebreaker, and Monoxide just ducked out. I don't know if he had something else going on that night or what it was, but I think I heard they were having problems with their voice, and I'll get into that here real shortly. So they ran it, and I think Madrox ended up winning in the end, which is funny because Lee Carver had the most points the whole night, and then for the final question, he wagered it all and then got the answer wrong. So Lee Carver won in my books, but Madrox ended up winning the tiebreaker, and he won. And then was the Killer Karaoke VIP party. And this show was kind of a mess, if I'm being honest. And kind of lame also, if I'm being honest. uh, I'm not really into karaoke at all anyway, so maybe I'm predisposed to not really like it. But at the previous years, I wasn't there last year, but at the previous year's VIP karaoke party, they were giving out tickets to people, and then they would call your name, and you would go up there and do karaoke with like Blaze or Young Wicked or whoever, Chimo, you know. And this year they didn't do that. This year they just said, hey, if you want to do karaoke, come up along the side and you could do karaoke. I wasn't going to do karaoke anyway, but like if they called my name, I was just going to be like, who's Luke? I don't know. But, but, yeah, so people just went up there as they wanted, and it was kind of, karaoke's just not my thing. I mean, it was cool to see Blaze. I heard Dirk Manning was up there, and I heard he tore it up. I did see, AXC they did Backstreet Boys. And then, after they did that, I walked out in the lobby. And then they came out, and I was talking with Billy Obey, a little bit with Lee Carver. Lee showed me his Necronomicon tattoo that was done by the same guy that did my tattoo. And, we just shot the shit for a while. And I was, kicking it with my other friends, too. And then they said they were going to do Red Hot Chili Peppers roller coaster. And so I went back in to see that. And then I came back out, and I was just kind of chilling, just kind of hanging out, waiting, because the flyer said that there was going to be a special set by the Demented duo, Twisted. So I'm just kind of sitting around waiting, kind of chilling out, hanging out with different people. And then one of my Justin Grossman that I talked about earlier, that I met early in the con, came out. And I was talking to him, and I look over, the lights are all on in the room. And I'm like, is it over? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, Twisted was supposed to perform. And he's like, they were? And I'm like, yeah, it's on the flyer. So for whatever reason, Twisted did not perform at the Killer Karaoke VIP party, which was a real bummer because I only stuck around to hear them. So I was kind of there for an extra hour, 2 hours, I don't know, however long it would have been, for them just not to perform. I heard their voices were shot. I mean, I guess that's possible, I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed with that. Yeah, so, that was Saturday. And Sunday was like a really kind of lazy day for me. The con was still packed because Sunday was Alexa Bliss's only day at the con. So the con was still packed on Sunday. Usually Sunday is always the slow day. For any convention you go to, if you want to go on a day where it's really slow, you go on the Sunday. But because Alexa Bliss was there, it was still packed. I think Dr. Satan was Sunday only as well. Walter Phelan or whatever his name is was there too. So it was really kind of a lazy day. Like I didn't really do a whole lot at the con. I walked the vendor hall a couple times to see if there was anything else I wanted to pick up. There really wasn't anything I wanted to pick up. I don't think I picked up anything on Sunday. But I was going to the VIP room where they have they're playing a movie and you get pizza and you get drinks and all that kind of stuff. They had Monster, water, soda. And I'm walking down the room and I see Joe Black at the Killer Karaoke night was walking around with his horned face, and he had a Harry Potter cloak, a real cloak, with a thing on it. So I'm walking down the hallway, and out of maybe they had maybe the third or fourth room on the right. Guy in a cloak walks out and turns, and he's not wearing a mask. And I look over, and I'm like, that's Joe Black. And I was like, no, no, my eyes are melting out of my head. And I'm like, oh man, because I'd always told people I never really wanted to see them without their mask on because I enjoyed the mystique of it all, I guess it's kind of like how people are with ICP's clown makeup. It's how do they feel when they see them in person without their makeup on? And I was like, oh man, that's weird. And I turned, and as I was passing him by, I looked over to my right, and in the room I could see Lee standing there without his mask on, but it was just like a silhouette, so I couldn't really see his face. And I was like, oh man, I'm like, this is wild, dude. So I went up to the VIP room and just was like, what did I just see? But I mean, the funny thing is they're normal looking dudes. I didn't expect anything different. It was just kind of one of those weird experiences where you're like, what happened? What the fuck just happened? But yeah, I mean that was probably like the biggest thing that happened that day for me. I also got to see, if you've ever seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles obsessed girl that has like taken out loans to buy the Michelangelo head from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. She was there. And what's funny is I was standing there talking to my buddy Jay Weeksel from Zillow Arts. He does some of the custom pops for AXE. And somebody comes up with a like a wheel, not wheelbarrow, but like a wheel wagon, and she's pulling it, and we like kind of have to move out of the way. And then I see like the a Mikey head and some other weird stuff in there, and I'm kind of looking at it like, that's kind of cool. And then I see her sit down. I'm like, that kind of looks like that girl from, that thing. And I'm looking closer, and I'm like, that is her, because she's so much older than she was when she recorded it. And I was like, oh shit. Looking back now, I wish I would have taken a picture, which is something I didn't do enough of. I didn't take enough pictures. I took a couple, obviously, but I didn't take nearly enough pictures for that con. I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things where I don't like having my phone out that much when I'm like in the moment. Yeah, and then, basically that whole day I was just waiting for the ashtrays and action figures panel. Like, just waiting to see what they were going to say, because that's always where they announce where the next one's going to be, if they're going to leave. Because a lot of people were thinking they were going to leave the Wyndham Garden, because they've already... On Friday, I was like, it's not that bad here. Like, I don't think they needed a new space. But then on Saturday, it was like, like I said, it took me 30 minutes to park. There were people everywhere. It was like the aisles were like crowded. It was kind of a chaos on Saturday, to be honest. Sunday was probably a little bit busier maybe than Friday, but not busier than Saturday, obviously. So I didn't know. I don't know. They're at a weird tipping point, I think, right now, where like they either get a bigger place, which is more expensive and probably potentially make less money, potentially, or all the extra space could mean that more people are going to get in. You know what I mean? It's a weird, because they get more vendor tables in, which means they sell more tables. Can they sell more tickets in a bigger venue? That kind of stuff. It's all over the place. But the one thing they did say is that, being at the Wyndham Garden allows them a lot of freedom. The people at the Wyndham Garden don't mess with them. Like, the people can smoke weed and they're not going to get in trouble. If they took it to a bigger venue, that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be able to get away with the things that they can get away with at the Wyndham Garden. So, yeah, I don't know. The other thing, I mean, you can watch this whole panel on the Astronomicon channel, but the other thing that this is only my impression. My impression is that Twisted kind of seems like they want to get away from performing at Astronomicon. Like, it kind of seems like because they do a lot. Like, for whatever reason, in my mind, I had this idea that they would, like, Astro would come and they would kind of chill out and just kind of walk around and soak it in. But, man, they're running all over the place doing all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand them not wanting to perform. And, I mean, they ended up only performing twice, I guess. Yeah, because they performed at the pre-party and the 80s party. And then they didn't even perform on Saturday. So, like I said, I think they do plan on cutting back the amount that they perform. And, they were asking for people's suggestions and all that kind of stuff. And, they are returning to the Wyndham Garden next year, February 12th through the 14th. They actually talked about moving it to March eventually, which I think would be a very smart move, because there was a lot of snow this year. There was a lot of snow the first year, so I think pushing it to March is even better, because it'll be even warmer. I just think that would be an all-around better move. So that was the whole weekend. Like I said, I went pretty in-depth with it. My final impressions are that, if you love Comic Cons, this is like actually a really well put-together con. Obviously, every con is going to have some hiccups, and there were some here. But, like, if you love Comic Cons and stuff, like, you'll like it. If you're, like, hardcore into, like, M&E artists in general, you'll like it. Because there's still a lot. Because a lot of our interests, like, kind of crossed over, which is perfect for Twisted and Astronomicon. For myself, I think Thursday was such a high. Like Thursday, like I said, was the best night. That it was kind of like a downward kind of like, and that always happens, I think. When you get somewhere, you get excited, and then like you just get more tired, more and more tired, more and more tired, and then by the end you're just like, man. And for me, I kind of also realized, I guess I'm a little bit like antisocial in a lot of ways. Like I like kind of like hanging out in my own space, like unwinding without a bunch of people around and stuff. And I also have a severe aversion to like kind of like hound dogging people or like whatever, because like when I was talking to AXE sometimes I was just kind of like, I don't want to be like in your space all this time. I don't know how to describe it other than that, like not wanting to kind of like seem like I'm on their nuts or whatever, so it's like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing that I feel personally. And it just made me feel like I was being antisocial a little bit and stuff, because I don't really drink, I don't smoke, so fitting into that crowd, that kind of like party atmosphere, made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But that's just me, and I feel that way at I go to like Cinema Wasteland in Strongsville, Ohio all the time, like all the time, and I feel the same way there. So it's more of a me issue than an Astronomicon issue, because everybody I talked to had a really good time. Like I said, only a couple issues. The hot water was a big issue that came up. There were some VIP things that I think they need to work on. There was no VIP priority seating that they should have had, that they did not have. I think the only one they did that for was maybe the Ashtrays and Action Figures panel. That was the only one where I think they had a separate line for VIP, but every other panel just went in and out, in and out. I think they could do a little bit to add a little bit more value to VIP. But then again, like I know the VIP stuff that I got was like a throw blanket and a pin, and obviously the badge, and then there was a flag. And out of all that stuff, you can resell it for pretty good prices. So if you're into reselling, I'm not really into that kind of thing. I could probably go on maybe Psychopathic Museum or something like that and sell it, or whatever, but forget it. So I guess I'll get into a little bit to what I bought, because that's probably my full review, how I felt, what I did the whole weekend. Something I did forget to mention is that I was spotted twice. I had two people come up to me and be like, "Hey, you have a YouTube channel, right?" And I was like, I was just surprised, because most of my videos don't have a whole lot of views, except for my Psychopathic tour video, which has like 15K right now. So thanks to everybody who watched that video and subscribed, because I gained like probably close to 200 subscribers, I think, based on that video alone, which is like wild. I would have never expected that video to get as much traction as it did. So thanks to everybody who watched it. Anyway, stuff I picked up. Actually, this is the very first thing I picked up. I went pretty much straight to Jamie's booth, the Pops and Vintage booth, because I know he had some original artwork that he was selling, and he had these doorbusters, which were little, like basically card-sized pieces of art. And I asked, okay, what's the price on it? $50. And I was like, oof. I was like, that's a little steep, a little more than what I expected. And I was like sitting there and I was looking at him and I was like, And then I saw Michael Myers and I was like, oh, and I was just like, okay, I'll get it. And the funny thing is that like these didn't sell out. I don't think they sold out like any of the nights. See, they're signed by Jamie. 1 of 1, Doorbuster, Sketch Card, Pops and Vintage, Astronomicon 3. I don't think they sold out any of the nights, because when I went back on Sunday, that's the other thing. If you ever go to a con, on Sunday is the day to go around and try to cut deals with vendors, because they don't want to pack all their stuff up. They want to sell whatever they got, especially if it's big stuff. They want to move it. Like if you go over there and you're like, hey, if they got like $50 on it, be like, hey, I'll give you 40 or 35, however you want to haggle. They'll be willing to cut you a deal on stuff. So I went back there and he probably had like 7 or 8 left. And he was like, hey, if you buy these 3, you buy at least these 4 for $150, you'll get an extra one for free or something like that. And I was like, oof. I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And I don't know if he sold any of them or not, and then he had some big pieces. There was a really cool Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface piece that he had that was framed and up top. And I think they wanted like 200 or something for that one, which was cool, but it was like, again, kind of out of my price range. You know, I really wasn't feeling like getting something that big. Let's see. Had these cards laying around. These were free, but somebody's like doing like a card game based on the MNE artists. You can't really read that. Maybe it'll pick it up and I just can't tell. But Young Wicked was one I actually found, and then there was another guy there that I was talking to pretty much the whole con, because I saw him on Thursday. So I was talking to him pretty much the whole thing. He gave me the Magic Ninjas card. Like I said, the glare on this is crazy. But anyway, the Magic Ninjas card. And later on, I believe it was on Sunday, they were sitting around playing at the table. Or maybe it was after the karaoke party. Either way, they were sitting around playing the game. Because they all have abilities and stuff. It's kind of based on the Echo Side card game by Psychopathic. I got this still in the package, so I'll throw up a picture of what it looks like. There's the vendor called Paul Bearer Press, who I see every time I go to Cinema Wasteland. They sell a lot of cool horror-related stuff, zip-up hoodies, long-sleeve shirts, banners like that, all kinds of cool stuff. I always buy stuff from them. So they were also one of the first booths I went to. Chopped it up with that guy because I see them twice every year at Cinema Wasteland, and so I picked that one up because that's a new thing that they're selling. And then I got actually 4 copies of the new UGH 70 that's hosted by AXE. Yeah, see, there's another one, and then another one, and I actually have another copy that I got from there somewhere. And then I'd already ordered 2 copies. I'm in the insert and everything, so I've got like 6 copies now of UGH 70. So if you want a copy, hit me up. And then this is the CD that I got for going to the Twisted 80s party. It's supposed to be some kind of like Beastie Boys remix thing. This is also on YouTube on the Astronomicon channel. So, but I got the CD. What's funny about this CD is I was leaving and they had a big box full, and there's people constantly handing out CDs and stuff at the con because they're, you know, doing their promo. And so there are people who are just walking by not taking these. And the guys handing out the CDs were like, "Hey, you should take these." You know what I mean? Like, you're going to regret not taking this CD. And there were people, because I saw it on Astronomic Conversations, there were people like, "Oh, I'm disappointed I didn't get it." Well, motherfucker, they were handing this shit out. They were trying to get people to take these because they had a huge box full of them. Yeah, so I don't know what these are going for. I'm probably not going to sell mine anyway. I'm just not a resell kind of guy. It's not even resell. I like to keep my shit. I don't sell my shit. And I picked up, like I said, physical copy of Ridas, which I'm going to be doing. I've been meaning to do the review on this for so long. I'm going to do the review, and I'm going to do kind of my opinion on the Ridas in general, you know, like what I think of them doing the Ridas. It's probably going to be an unpopular video, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see. Oh, I got the Haunted Highons AXE cover. It was $10. This is kind of funny. Some vendors had this for $20, and then the vendor that I went to had it for $20 or for $10, and I was like, I don't know, I'll pay $10 for it. And then I did my Kickstarter pickup video for the Haunted Ions cover. And then what happened was the binding on this, like, I didn't notice this until I got home, but there's like the binding is separating on my issue. I don't know if this will pick up very well, but you see that, how it's like that? I don't know how that happened. I actually messaged the Travis McIntyre from the Kickstarter. He said he'll get me a new copy. Hopefully that happens. If not, oh well, you know, I'm gonna read it regardless. You know, I'm not really I'm a collector, but I'm not a collector for value necessarily. So, you know, it is what it is. And then, don't know why I'm showing you guys this last, because it's not juggler related at all. But I also collect like RPG games. Like, I mean, the best way I could describe it to people who have no idea what I'm talking about, Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. And they had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tabletop game from, like, I don't know what year this is. It's an old edition, probably early 90s, I'm guessing. And he had it up there for $30, and I'm like, sure. So, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a good price. I'll pick it up. And I came back home and I looked at eBay. I was like, it was a really good price. Probably about $20 knocked off what it should be retail. But I love the art on there too. Pretty sure that's Kevin Eastman. I probably could have got it autographed by him, but again, like I said, I'm not into paying crazy prices for autographs and pictures and stuff. Yeah, so, that's everything, man. That was the whole con. Special shout out to Pretzel, Elu Black, Peb Customs, Jay Weeksel from Zillow Arts. He does a bunch of custom pops. Hit him up if you want a custom pop. Dino, Rick Mole, Justin Grossman. There's a lot of people I forgot, I know. But, I was kicking it with all those guys pretty much the whole weekend. It was pretty awesome. And speaking of Peb Customs, I've got a fish face coming in. And I've also gotten, in my previous video, I unboxed my Forever face from Astro One. And the strap was like too tight on my head. I was wearing it on Thursday night, and I was like, I can't wear this very long. It's just killing my face. So I gave it to him rather than pay to ship it to him later. I was just like, here, take it with you and restrap it for me. He's going to restrap it for me. He's going to restrap my fish face. And as soon as I get that in, that'll be another video that I do to show off the new fish face. It's super dope. I took a picture of it, but I'll save it for the unboxing video that I do. So once again, this video is probably long as fuck. Thank you if you've made it this far. Thank you for watching, bearing with me, because like I said, I know this is a really long video. I probably went too far in depth and too far in detail with a lot of this stuff. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Praise Zool, and I'll see you guys in the next video.